"Lattie, keep down!" Staff Sergeant Audie Murphy's desperate cry was swallowed by the German hillside. Too late. A sniper's bullet had already found its mark. For 3 agonizing seconds, Murphy stared at Tipton, rage crystallizing in his veins. He seized a German machine gun and rose from cover, a magnet for every enemy bullet. In a trance, he walked upward into the fortified summit of Pillbox Hill. His comrades begged him to take cover, but something had snapped deep inside the young sergeant from Texas. The Germans were about to learn what happened when you killed Audie Murphy's best friend. Naval guns shattered the dawn silence like rolling thunder. The other D-Day, also known as Operation Dragoon, was about to crack Hitler's southern fortress wide open. Generals George Marshall and Dwight Eisenhower, backed by President Franklin Roosevelt, had revived the southern France invasion when the Norman ports proved inadequate for Allied supply needs. They needed to protect the south flank of the Normandy invasion forces and provide another critically needed supply port at Marseille. Operation Dragoon had been calculated to the smallest detail. At 8 a.m., August 15, 1944, Staff Sergeant Audie Murphy clutched his M1 carbine as his landing craft slammed through Mediterranean swells toward Yellow Beach. Rocket boats unleashed destruction on the shore. Missiles hissed overhead and detonated against German positions, blasting barbed wire and triggering mines. The bombardment was working. Waiting defenders from General Walter Weiss's 19th Army were being systematically broken. Murphy's landing craft hit Yellow Beach between Cap de Saint-Tropez and Cap Camarat, exactly on schedule. The men jumped into the beach boots, sinking into the seawater. The beach was crawling with mines, each needing just a few pounds of pressure to tear a man to pieces. One of Murphy's friends, Private Coker Price, stepped carefully in others' footprints, praying each step wouldn't be his last. An explosion near Murphy sent smoke skyward, leaving a massive hole where a soldier had made one fatal misstep. German artillery from the hills beyond rained fire on B Company. The enemy's beach yellow resistance was fierce, but short-lived. It shattered within 40 minutes, but cost the 1st Battalion 10% casualties. French patriots had posted minefield warnings and cleared some obstacles before the landings, but blood still soaked the sand. B Company raced across meadows toward farmhouses and vineyards. Rifle fire erupted from windows. American guns fired back. It took several hours, but it finally happened. 6 Germans emerged with raised hands, and their position collapsed. 1 mile inland, the 15th Regiment hit a wall. A cliff topped by a wooded hill strewn with boulders blocked their advance completely. Crowning this natural fortress, a concrete reinforced pillbox with a coastal gun aimed at the beachhead. French underground intelligence confirmed the Germans had converted this site into a strongpoint. The hill had to be taken out, or the advance would run out of steam. The assignment fell to the 1st Battalion. B Company would lead the assault. The route up presented a tactical nightmare. Steep incline shrouded with thick brush, scrub oaks, boulders, and pine trees. Visibility dropped to yards. Enemy snipers and machine gunners had perfect cover. At 10 p.m., the battle for Pillbox Hill began. Staff Sergeant Norman Holland remembered when hell opened up. We were spread out through the vineyard as we approached the hill. When we were about 250 yards from the hill, the enemy among the boulders started firing at us with a machine gun and small arms. We all hit the dirt. Any movement drew devastating fire. The German defenders had positioned themselves perfectly for slaughter. They were pinned down. Without warning, without orders, Murphy ordered his 3rd platoon to take cover, and he stood up and advanced alone up the slope. His M1 carbine and grenades stood between B Company and annihilation. He never forgot that moment. I was alone now, and the Germans had discovered me. They laid a blistering crossfire directly over my head. He rolled into a ditch parallel to a thick canebrake, the only cover in the fire zone. A German machine gun crew waited in perfect ambush beneath a cork tree 15 yards upslope. 2 operators and 3 ammunition feeders. The ideal nest. Murphy's mind processed the tactical situation. The machine gun had to be neutralized, but his carbine lacked firepower. He needed an automatic weapon. Moving back down the ditch, Murphy encountered 2 Germans around a bend. Combat experience had taught him the value of split seconds. Both fell to precise carbine fire before they could react. Near the forest edge, Murphy stumbled into German foxholes, whose occupants were not expecting him. He outdueled them until his ammunition was exhausted. Then he ran into an American machine gun crew pinned by enemy fire. But they didn't share his confident outlook on the battle. No amount of arguing or cursing could move them forward. Murphy commandeered their weapon. He would do what needed to be done himself. He dragged the machine gun 150 yards downhill from the enemy stronghold. His advantage was apparent, firing uphill while lying flat, protected, while the Germans had to expose themselves to shoot downslope. Murphy raked enemy positions with sustained fire, systematically eliminating defenders in each foxhole. Another German machine gun opened from his left flank. Murphy dove for cover, but was unable to locate the position. He set up and raked the area with lead until his last cartridge was spent, then raced back to the ditch as converging fire sought him. During his ammunition run, Murphy encountered Private Lattie Tipton from Tennessee, his Foxhole companion and closest friend since Sicily. Tipton carried carbine clips and sported a fresh wound where a bullet had torn his ear. Their bond was strong. Foxhole buddies shared everything: life stories, family backgrounds, last food, final water, blankets in freezing weather. They knew each other's deepest thoughts and would step in front of a bullet to save the other if it came to that. Tipton had even turned down a promotion to remain Murphy's runner. Murphy had vowed his best friend would return to his 9-year-old daughter, Claudian, whose letters Tipton read aloud. "Dear Daddy, I am in school, but the teacher is not looking. When are you coming home? I miss you." Murphy visualized the eager-eyed girl every time they fought together. He shouted, "Go back, Lattie! Get back and have that ear fixed." Despite Murphy's protests, Tipton followed up the slope. 2 Germans emerged from the canebrake, firing immediately. Tipton's reflexes were lightning fast. 2 rapid carbine shots dropped both before they found targets. Hand grenades and automatic fire converged on their position. Explosions and bullets somehow missed Audi and Tipton. They found the German machine gun near the cork tree and charged while firing their carbines. They never knew what hit them. We shot them and dived in on top of them, just as a second machine gun opened up. Enemies fell left and right, but it didn't take long for more enemy guns to target them. After tossing grenades, they emptied carbines into the second emplacement, forcing Germany to surrender. Tipton noticed an enemy gunner waving a white handkerchief. Despite Murphy's desperate warnings to keep down and don't trust them, Tipton stepped out to accept surrender. A sniper's bullet struck Tipton's chest. He toppled back into the foxhole, choking out one word, "Murph." Then there was silence. Murphy recalled, "I never saw one drop of blood on Lattie." But Lattie moved no more, and it did not take long for Murphy to be overwhelmed by the realization. Grief became fury. Murphy tossed a grenade at the machine gun, finishing its crew. Somehow, the weapon remained undamaged. Murphy seized the German machine gun, checked its operation, and held it against his hip like a Browning automatic rifle. Disregarding personal safety completely, he advanced uphill, shooting from the hip at anything moving. Bullets flew from multiple directions as Murphy single-handedly assaulted the final 2 enemy emplacements. "I think the Germans were shocked to see just one man attacking them," Sergeant Tom Godfrey observed. "Murph just lost his head. When you lose a buddy like that, it's really tough." Once Pillbox Hill was neutralized, Murphy dragged Tipton's body from the Foxhole, laying him under a cork tree with a pillow beneath his head. Checking personal effects, Murphy found Claudian's photograph and wept, the first and only time his comrades saw him cry. The irony was brutal. Both concrete pillboxes and coastal guns were elaborate dummies and sophisticated deceptions. But German machine guns and infantry had been devastatingly real. Murphy's heroism saved countless American lives while enabling swift, objective capture. Murphy received the Distinguished Service Cross, the second highest U.S. combat award for valor. But, as a friend said, he would have traded it for Lattie Tipton's life in a heartbeat. The 3rd Battalion captured Saint-Tropez that night. The 1st Battalion entered Ramatuelle the following morning. Within 1 week, American and French forces captured over 14,000 German prisoners, including 3 generals, and liberated 5,000 square kilometers of French territory. Murphy reorganized his 3rd Platoon and moved forward. Once again, I saw the war as it was. It was an endless series of lethal problems, some big, some small, that involved the blood and guts of men. It was as simple as that. The living would move on and keep fighting. There was nothing else to do. The young Texas sergeant would continue fighting across France into Germany, accumulating unprecedented medals and decorations. But that August morning near Ramatuelle, amid cork trees and boulders of Pillbox Hill, Audie Murphy paid war's ultimate price, not his own life, but something equally precious, his closest friend's life, sacrificed on victory's altar in humanity's most significant conflict.